Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hey, welcome. Have you heard of a Nutria?
Yes.
So you know what they are, Nutria rat?
Yeah, weird little mammal things.
With the big orange teeth.
I've never seen their teeth. I am familiar with them. I've never seen one, I don't think.
Well, they have these big kind of beaver teeth. And it kind of looks like a beaver except it has like a rat tail, but its teeth are orange. So it's just very a distinct looking animal. And here in Louisiana people call them Nutra, but the name is Nutria rat. So I always say Nutria. But anyway, so have you ever encountered one?
No. They do not live here.
Yeah, they live in the marshes and they actually I don't know if this is still happening, but several years ago, the sheriff's department would pay people to kill them. And I think they'd get I don't know, $10 a tail or something like that. It was really disgusting. But they were destroying the marshes. Yeah, so.
Yeah, they're an invasive species.
Yes. So, and it got really out of control, several years ago. So anyway, so that's kind of where that came from. So anyway, it has been in the news around here lately. I'm guessing it didn't make it up to,
no.
your area. But basically, quite the controversy this week. So in the news. So this family in Jefferson Parish in Bucktown, which is New Orleans area, they adopted this Nutria rat. And basically what had happened was a couple of years ago, this guy, he saw this this little family of Nutria rats crossing the street and with the mama and its babies. And I think the mom ran or something. I'm not really sure. I forget. But several of the babies got hit by a car. And there was this one little baby Nutria rat that was just kind of, scared and roaming around. So this guy picked it up and decided to nurse it back, nurse it so that it would remain healthy and be able to live. So it got separated from its family and several of its little siblings died, sadly. So anyway, so this guy basically adopts this rat and feeds it and takes care of it. And it lived outside, and this guy's wife one day it gets cold and she's like, well, bring the little guy inside. It can't stay outside. It's too cold, So they ended up bringing it inside. And its name is Nudie, by the way, Neuty, Nudie. And it became their pet, basically. They love this little guy. It's really cute. They say he swims in their saltwater pool 2 hours a day. He dries off. He waits by the back door to be let inside. It's super cute, and they feed him. I don't know. It was just a cute little story. So basically, this little Nutria lives inside and outside, but it's been raised. It eats vegetables and crawfish and stuff like that. So it's been raised as a domesticated pet. So it can't be returned to the wild because it probably wouldn't survive on its own. But anyway, so this family has the pet, and it's kind of a local popular. I haven't heard of it. Well, I don't live in Bucktown, which is right by Metairie, right outside of New Orleans. But locally there, it's a really popular little pet. So the guy owns Dennis's Seafood, which is a restaurant there. And so he brings them to work every day, and he hangs out. They feed him and stuff. And people love to come see this pet Nutria. And it's really calm and sweet, and people pick it up and hold it. And it's just an adorable little Nutria rat pet. I mean, I guess as adorable as a Nutria rat can be, right? But I think it's adorable. But so the local news decided to do this story on it. It was really cute. And this week it came out, and it just kind of chronicles how the guy found the Nutria rat, what the Nutria rat does, kind of how it came from this little tragedy and is thriving with his family. And anyway, it's just really a cute story. So the rat at this time, and it's potty trained, by the way, like it goes outside to use the bathroom. Like the rat weighs 22 pounds, so it's a pretty decent size animal.
Yeah.
So this rat is just like a super popular little pet, and this family, like you can tell, just absolutely loves them. It's the cutest story. So it went like kind of viral around here, and everybody was just like, loving it. Like the rat also has its own TikTok account. Like it's just like a popular, like fun little thing, So everyone loves it. It became this like sensation this week, like I guess because more people around Louisiana are reading the story and all kinds of stuff. So cute story, right? 2 days later, another story breaks in the news that the Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries is like, no, absolutely not. You cannot have that pet. We're taking it away. So basically, Nutria rat is not, it's wildlife. You can't have it as a pet. And because the rat like can't survive on its own in the wild, they're like, we're gonna bring it to the Baton Rouge Zoo and it'll be like the pet ambassador for the zoo. So the picture that was shown on the news is wildlife and fisheries agents like in the couple's like driveway or outside of their restaurant, I'm not really sure. And like the mom of the Nutria rat is like sitting there crying because they told her like they're taking their pet away. And they've had this pet for 2 years. They absolutely love it. It's a really sweet story. And then Louisiana Wildlife and Fisheries is like, no, we're taking it. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this because on one hand, like, yeah, you can't have wildlife as a pet. On the other hand, like they nursed it, they fed it pet milk, like they research it, like they're taking really good care of this animal, right? But it can't be re-released in the wild. So like, are you really going to take the animal away from its family that it loves? Like, and like, it would be heartbreaking for this family. It's like if somebody came and was like, hey, we're confiscating your cat. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
the difference between that is that a cat's a domesticated animal and Nutria is not.
Yeah. And of course, like I know there are reasons for these laws and stuff like that, but it was kind of this like terrible thing. So a petition started on change.org. People were like making t-shirts that had a picture of the Nutria rat and said free nudie. Hashtag free nudie became a thing this week. It was just this whole thing. So like people were really upset. Like they saw this like feel good, cute little story. And then it's like Wildlife and Fisheries was like, absolutely not. There is no fun to be had. We're taking this animal away from you. So it was met with outrage. Like the public was outraged on behalf of this family and on behalf of the many, many people who like have grown to love this little animal over the last couple of years. So it just was this whole controversy this week. And I just read last night that that Nudie was freed and that the Secretary of the Wildlife and Fisheries came to a compromise with the family. Well, what really happened is when Wildlife and Fisheries came to the restaurant to confiscate the pet, they were met by the family's lawyer. So they had hired a lawyer to try to fight this ruling. And so the Secretary of the Wildlife and Fisheries came out and said, we've reached a compromise. As long as the family meets certain conditions, they will be allowed to keep the pet. So it's a whole thing. It sparked a lot of debate online this week. Yeah, so I loved it. I thought it was really funny. And I was like posting like hashtag free nudie because I fully believe that this family should keep their beloved pet. And he's living such a good life. Like no one can say that he's not living a good life. Like they're taking really good care of this animal. And it's very, obvious that they are. So anyway, so how do you feel about this?
Well, you're really not supposed to keep, like, random wildlife you find as pets. That's generally not a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that, but it's kind of like, I mean, And they're so invasive. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, it's
that's another problem.
one fewer that's in the wild destroying the marshes. Like, it's just kind of like, who is this harming though?
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder, like, if just because of the popularity that the wildlife and fisheries, if they decided, like, well, we need to make an example out of this so people don't start trying to do that, like, just because of how high profile it is.
Yes, that's kind of what I figured. So at the same time that I was like really upset for this family, I was kind of like going, okay, for one, you had to know it's illegal, right?
Yeah.
Yet you still are like publicizing that you have this animal. So I was kind of like on the family side, like, why would they agree to do a news story? And then on top of that, I'm kind of like, is this responsible journalism? Like, they wanted to do a feel-good story. Like, that's what it was. It was not, like, raising concern that there's, this wild animal living in a family's home. It was a feel-good story that everybody loved, okay?
Yeah.
As a journalist, you had to know you would get this family in trouble, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I
So
don't know.
there's a lot to it that I'm kind of like, this is a questionable decision on a lot of different angles to me to do the news story. So I was kind of going like, I don't know about all this. And like some people were saying like, oh, they're just trying to make this pet famous so that, they can, I guess, I don't know, make money off of it. I really don't know.
Yeah, you can, absolutely. Pet accounts are very popular online.
Yeah, so that they were like, this was their fault. They were trying to make their animal famous. I don't know that like doing a local news story would equal your animal's famous across the interwebs.
The profile, though, that's step one.
Step one, yeah, exactly. Step one. But I was just kind of like, I don't know. I felt like it was very questionable on everybody's part. Like, well, why did they do this story? Like, you had to know it was illegal, unless they just thought like, oh, people won't care about this,
Yeah,
but
maybe.
The Wildlife and Fisheries is a federal department. Like, they mean business. Like, they can arrest you. They can,
Yeah.
I just think it's like super goofy that they would put that out there. Like, if that was me and I wanted to live happily with my little Nutria rat, I wouldn't allow like a story to be done on it. So that part of it was just kind of like, I don't know about this. But I mean, maybe they just didn't know. They just had no idea that they were, breaking a law or whatever. But either way, the resolution of the story is that as long as they meet certain conditions, and I believe they have to apply for a permit, or they may have to be, it might be like a wildlife rehabilitation permit. Like, you have to be certified in order to have certain animals, like, in your home, So I don't know if it's that, like, they have to do courses or what the actual stipulations are. But I just, it was one of those stories this week that, like, everybody got behind because it was such a cute little, like, oh, you have a nutria rat and look how good it's living and, like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, the villain comes in and really they're just people trying to do their jobs, right? And so that was the whole thing. And then so finally, like yesterday, to see like Nudie was freed. It worked. So it has been like just locally like a whirlwind around this little cute little nutria. I'll say little, but they're pretty big. Nutria rats. And the funniest thing to me was like the wife was quoted in the news article as saying like, I still can't get over that big rat tail though. So I just think that was funny that she's like, we love this little pet, but its tail is still gross. So like during this, I learned like what nutria eat and, the whole, I remember probably back in the 90s, or I guess it was probably the 90s, that the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Department was offering money to kill, for anybody, any citizens, to kill nutria, which I think is kind of crazy as well.
Well, that's a bad idea, at least historically. There's a famous incident in British colonial India where they were trying to get rid of a snake, so they were paying people to like show up with snake skins or whatever for dead snakes, like snake corpses. And so people started breeding the snakes.
Oh, no,
so they could
that's
get the money,
awful.
which led to an increase in a snake population, not a decrease.
Which is super goofy. So, yeah. So that's been the buzz this week. I was very into this story. So, as you know, I love my animals and I love pets and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I really was like, really, what harm is this animal doing? Like, who's being harmed by this? But, I do understand that there are rules for a reason, but I do think there's always exceptions, so I don't think anybody should have to, I think if you take in an animal and you're treating it well and giving it a good life and making it able to survive, because it would have definitely, I mean, it was a little tiny baby. They have like pictures of it. It would definitely have died sitting on the street, in the middle of West Esplanade. So I think like you should be, if you're saving an animal's life, like why not be able to have it as a pet, But on the other hand, I do understand the very real problems with having exotic animals as pets.
Yeah.
So I get that. Nutria rat, though, like, it's not like it's a tiger. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's no harm, no foul there,
Yeah, I mean, it can also be bad. Like, I mean, in this case, it's an invasive species, so, like, you're not going to be damaging the environment by, like, getting one, but it's still generally, like, not a great idea.
Like,
That's
you're not
why
hurting the
organizations
ecosystem.
like, wildlife and fisheries, like, get on people about this.
I get that. And I was talking to one of my coworkers on Friday, and I was like, I just don't understand. And her background was biology and I don't know specifically what, but like she was gonna be, I don't know, something with animals, and she's worked at little zoos and done like internships with wildlife stuff, and so like she kind of has this background, and she's like, well, I mean, it's an exotic animal, like you can't, it's a wild animal, you can't have that as a pet. And I was like, I mean, I get that, but I don't know. I feel like there are always exceptions to rules, so that's just my logic right there.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt this one, like, Nutria is much of a problem, but...
Yeah. So it was one of those, like, under Nutria stories to get behind this week. So that was my entertainment, brought out my passion for animals this week, so yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's an interesting story about Nutria, raises some interesting questions,
I loved it because it's such a local, animal that people are familiar with, and people around the country are not familiar with it. So I thought that was, I love like our local flora and fauna here,
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. You remember ROFL?
Ha! ROFL.
Or ROFL or ROTFL?
Yes, ROFL.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody uses that anymore, which, I find a little bit odd, given that, like, LOL and LMAO, which I guess you would call, ROFL's cousins, are still in heavy regular use.
ROFL adjacent.
Yeah, but ROFL is not. And so,
Yeah, you don't hear ROFL ever, do you?
Yeah, which, I was thinking about that the other day, and I thought it was interesting, the sort of, like, early internet, early text sort of, like, slangs and abbreviations that get used still and which ones don't get used anymore. So that's the next topic.
Yes. So a lot of them you still see, like BRB.
Yeah.
A couple of newer, I'll say newer ones that I don't remember from way back in the day, like IRL.
Oh no, IRL was used back in the day, absolutely.
I don't remember that until like more recent years.
It was used in the 2000s, I can tell you that.
Okay, I'm talking back in the late 90s. So you're saying it was used like early 2000s?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know well before then, but it was absolutely used then.
Oh, I guess I didn't pay attention or didn't come across it.
I think it was used, like, this my familiarity, but it was used a lot in, like, games.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, and that would not have been my realm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it funny, like, I think, like, some of them, like, I remember, like, way back in the day, like, G2G,
Oh,
gotta
yeah.
go.
Nobody uses that.
Yeah, or now, like, I've heard it more recently, like, good to go. Like, what else? Oh my gosh, there's so many funny ones.
TTYL, no one uses that anymore.
Yes.
Talk to you later.
No, so funny. I say that to Travis sometimes. I'm like, TTYL. Like, just to be goofy, though, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, what else?
Yeah, because those were, like, very prolific, these, in texting, where it's, like a necessity back in the day before you had full keyboards or touchscreens. You had to press a button multiple times to get a letter, so just for the sake of ease, you'd abbreviate
Okay,
everything.
I know I've talked about this before, but I loved those kinds of phones where you had to press the number like several times because you could do it without looking. It's like we all were trained. Like you could be driving and like texting with your other hand, which you shouldn't do, obviously. But you didn't have to look at the phone at all. Or I remember being at work and like we couldn't have cell phones, which is absolutely ridiculous if you think about it.
Yes.
But I mean, this was like back in the day, okay?
Yeah.
Like when I had like a teenage job and you couldn't have cell phones. And I'd be like under my desk, like texting. You did not even have to look and you could just do it. Like you can't do that now.
Yeah, touchscreens don't have the tactile, like you can't.
Yes. Like you have to look. And for me, I can't hold my phone in one hand and text with the same hand because it's too wide. Like I need to use both hands, which I absolutely hate, but that's another story. But anyway, getting back to the abbreviations. So some like ones from forever, like LOL, obviously, right? Like we still use that.
Yeah. Very.
And
very
the funny thing about that one, is I used to never use it because I was just like, oh, it's so overused. And then like, I don't know, I guess sometime in the last 10 years, I was just like, LOL, like all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there. But...
IDK, that's still used pretty regularly.
Yes.
Although IDC doesn't seem to be used as often, which is interesting.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me, but like I see IDK far more than IDC, when back in the day, you'd see them both in like equal measure from what I remember.
Yes. Do you ever like have to Google something? An abbreviation?
Probably, but I mean, like the thing
every
is,
once in a while,
is you get into like little subcultures, and subcultures use abbreviations. Like fans of certain artists will abbreviate all their albums, and if you're like just getting into that artist, you gotta look it up. So
yes. Yeah, and sometimes some of these I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah, but ROFL is definitely...
Yes.
Like, I don't even remember the last time I saw that, but why? Why did that go away, but the other one stuck?
I don't know. Yeah, that's odd, because, again, both LOL and LMAO are used very commonly, I don't...
Yes.
Maybe literally rolling on the floor, like that mental image is too dramatic.
Maybe so. I do remember this was a long time ago. One of my friends texted me, but it was like a late text. Like it wasn't right after I had texted her. And she texted me YW. So like to me, like it came out of the blue.
Oh, really?
I was like, YW? Like what the heck does that mean? I really sat there and had to think like, what is she talking about? Like, and then I'm like, oh, you're welcome. I must have said, like, thanks in my text from 2 days ago. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh. But it really got me for a second. I was like, YW? What the hell is that? What the heck is that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. TY for thank you, too, gets used a lot.
Yes. I think, like, BTW, definitely.
I think it's used a bit. IMO and IMHO, in my opinion, in my humble or honest, I don't know if people ever decided on which H word.
Yeah, I think it could go either way. Yeah, I feel like that was a newer one.
Really?
I say newer, not like last 5 years. I just mean like newer than like when chat rooms and stuff were first
maybe
popular.
So. Because, I know that was used in the 2000s.
Yeah, unless again, like I just am not remembering, but yeah, I don't remember that one like back in the day. Like we never used that.
It's interesting to me though, that these got used in like chat rooms and forums and message boards back in the day when like, back in the day, you weren't going to be on a phone using those. You were on a computer with an actual keyboard. So there's no, like, utility in typing, like, being shorter. But I guess it just, like, became the style.
Yeah, I think so. Like, it just kind of, like, I don't know. I think it's funny because, like, internet culture, there are so many subcultures, like you said, like, and I think it's just funny, like, what came about from that. Like, it's just so interesting to me, I guess, because I'm old enough to remember, like, before we had a home computer and before we had internet and before we had chat rooms and before we had texting, so that's how old I am. Yeah, but there's still funny, like, there's still things like, okay, so TFW, that's one.
Oh, yes.
That feeling when.
Or that face when.
Yeah, that's a newer one.
Yes.
That was not around back then.
Well, that was like a meme format for a while, and that was like, I remember that being big in like the 2010s.
Yes, exactly. Like, that was not, like, that was one that's more new to me than, like, I don't ever use that one, honestly. Like, it's just not part of my vocabulary, but...
No, I think it's fallen out of favor, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
I feel like it should.
I think people these days are more likely to type me when they say stuff like that.
Yes. Or just me,
yeah.
like, And then I think, like, FTW, that's another one.
That was super common back in the day, and nobody uses that anymore.
No, nobody uses that, but, that one's funny to me because that's one I don't remember from way back either.
I mean, maybe not, but that was common in the 2000s.
Yeah, and I guess like the 2000s is when I kind of like got farther out of the internet culture. Like during that phase, I was like out of that. Hate to say out of touch, but But are there any other ones that you remember from way back that we don't use anymore?
So I looked up a Merriam-Webster 93 common texting abbreviations. I don't know when this was from, but one of these is wrong. So it has KK listed as knock knock, which I have never seen anybody uses.
No.
That's like, okay. Actually, people don't use KK a lot anymore.
I see people using it, but mostly on text.
Yeah,
like
yeah. You don't say that online.
No,
usually.
Yeah. Well, not that I'm like, well, I guess, yeah. Yeah, I never see it online. I only see it in texting for some reason.
Okay, are some of these wrong on purpose? Is like MB, Mama's Boy? I have never seen anybody ever use that.
No, me either.
That's, I think if you used MB, you'd mean my bad.
Yeah, my bad.
You'd probably say my B, though.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't say MB. But ones that I always have to think about is baby mama and baby daddy.
Oh, yeah, well, those aren't abbreviations.
No. I see it as like BM or BD.
Oh.
That's mostly online. I don't ever see that in text. Yeah. But those I always have to stop and be like, BM. And then I'm like, oh yeah, baby mama. Like, you gotta have the context,
BM also means bad manners in video games.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, it gets used as its own term. Like, oh, they're BMing, which is when you're doing something kind of rude.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I had no idea.
Yeah, that can be from, like, you're, like, being an asshole in the chat. Or it can mean something like you're already winning and you're just, like, dunking on them.
Oh. So, another kind of, like, I guess, subgenre of this is, like, what about those abbreviations? And I don't know if they came from, like, internet or texting culture or gaming culture or whatever, but like abbreviations like DUF or like MILF or DILF.
Okay, no, those are older, yeah.
Is that just slang?
What's a DUF?
Dumb, ugly, fat friend.
Oh, I've never heard that one, no.
That's an old one. Like, not...
Okay, yeah.
Not old as in me old, like old as in you old.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that one.
There was a movie called The Duff or something like that, yeah, in the 2000s. Yeah. But those abbreviations that like just come from like spoken language, I think are also kind of funny too.
I don't think those are internet or text things though.
Yeah. But I think they're fun. I actually heard somebody say DILF the other day, and I was like a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that's a blast from the past.
The blast from the past. DILF and MILF are having kind of a renaissance at the current moment.
Yes. Yes, I think it's very funny. I'm just like, okay.
That's some, like,
just along for the ride.
Stacy's mom 90s era stuff.
Yes, yeah. Yes. But actually, like, a 20-year-old said it, like, recently.
Yeah, no,
me.
again, it's having a renaissance.
I was just like, what? Yeah. Okay, so there are some abbreviations that we still use.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, here's NGL, not gonna lie. I think that's a bit newer, and I don't see that too often.
Yeah, I hardly ever see that.
See it.
Yeah.
NP for no problem. I don't remember the last time I saw that, but I know, like, I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, I don't really like that one.
Oh, OFC for of course.
Yeah.
I don't really see people use that one.
Sometimes I'm, like, reading something online and I'm like, what? Like, I have to sit there and think about what the abbreviation means. I'm just like, I don't know. It's usually, like, if it's, like, late at night when I'm tired. You know what I mean? I'm like, what does that mean?
OTOH for on the other hand. I haven't seen that one in forever, and I remember people saying that back in the day.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Yeah, that was like a forum thing.
Like, I forgot all about that.
Oh, RN for right now.
Yes, I actually use RN a lot in texting.
Sure you did back in the day, too.
Actually, I didn't as much back in the...
Yeah.
It's really funny. For the longest time, I didn't use these, like, abbreviations. And then, for some reason, like, I don't know, I just started using them.
SMH, shaking my head. Very common still.
Alright. I super don't like that one. But I know people still use it constantly. But one that I use a lot, like, more like ironically, is FRFR.
Oh, yes, for real. That's a newer thing.
Yeah, that's definitely newer. And I do say that a lot now, but it's mostly me just being goofy.
STFU.
Yes, that one has survived.
Very common, back in the day and now, yeah.
Yes. I mean, very useful phrase. Yes. Oh yeah, TBF, TBH, to be honest, to be fair. I hardly ever see TBF.
I see it occasionally.
Yeah. It's like one of those things you don't even think about. Like, to me, like, I don't even think about using these, like, abbreviations, acronyms, you know, like,
yeah,
it just comes naturally, and I think it's just really funny that that's part of our language.
Yeah. Here's one that's, still in use. I don't know, like, when it started, but, TL::DR.
Yes. That was one I had to look up, like, several years ago. I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah, too long didn't read. So I first remember coming across it, like 10 years ago. It's very common on Reddit and has been for a long time, but yes. I have to imagine that came from somewhere beforehand.
I don't know. It might have been spawned by Reddit. Or what about the NSFW?
Oh, yeah.
Not suitable for work.
Yes.
That one I had to look up too one time, and this was like forever ago. And I was like,
hopefully not at work.
Yeah, hopefully not at work. I actually bought this, it was like this really light washed denim like shirt. Like it was like this cute little shirt that had like, I don't know, it was a while back. And I bought it online and I got it in the mail, and on the pocket, like on the front, it said NSFW, and I was like, no! I couldn't see it online because it was like in white embroidery, like, and it just kind of like blended in with the shirt, and I just didn't notice it, I guess. And I was like, I don't want a shirt that says NSFW. So
some people might.
I ripped the stitches out. And just like wore it like without the NSFW on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I'm not wearing that.
WTF. Very common back in the day and now.
Yeah.
I ran out of the Websters. Let me see if I can find some.
YOLO.
Yeah, but that was like from a song, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I think it came like before the song.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a newer one, though. That's not like...
Yeah.
That's not from the 90s or 2000s.
I still use that one ironically, too. Like all the time. I'm just like, YOLO. Yeah.
People don't use that anymore.
No, nobody does. That's why I think it's funny.
Yeah. BC for because.
Yeah, that one's common.
Yeah.
HMU. Hit me up.
Oh, right.
I like that one.
Oh, FWIW for what it's worth.
Yes.
See that one occasionally. I remember seeing it back in the day, but could just be false memories.
Right.
Oh, ILY for I love you. Nobody does that one anymore, and that was common back in the day.
I see it when people are like replying to people's posts online.
Oh, okay,
you know?
yeah, maybe so.
But that's it, yeah. From like I think younger people though.
Okay. Might be a specific affectation then.
Yeah. But I don't ever use that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I use some and not the others. But I just do think it's very funny, like, why do some, like, kind of fall out of fashion and other ones just stick around forever?
Like, again, the ROFL thing, I keep coming back to that.
Yeah, ROFL. I've never called it ROFL.
ROFL. You know, there's no reason why that, would fall out, but, LMAO and LOL stuck around.
Remember the band LMFAO?
Yes.
That's funny.
You remember how some people would sometimes combine ROFL and LMAO for,
Yes.
ROFLMAO?
Yes.
That was fun back in the day.
Yes, that was a long one. Funny. I would love, like, I wish I could go back and read, like, the stuff I used to say in chat rooms. I think it would be hilarious because, like, you're talking about, like, a 13-year-old in a chat room. Like, I think it would be so funny.
Oh, yeah, and a lot of, using the number 2 for, anything that has 2 in it, or number 4 for anything that has 4 in it.
Yes.
Like, tomorrow with the, number 2 instead of TO.
Yeah.
Which almost nobody does anymore.
No, but we also, back before texting, when in school, we used to, like, write letters to each other constantly. Like, multiple letters throughout the day. And we would write, like, BFF.
Oh, yes.
4, like the number 4, E.
Mm-hmm.
Best friends forever and ever.
Oh, AFK. That's get used sometimes, away from keyboard.
AFK. Oh, yeah, that's one that you don't see too often.
I see it occasionally, but it's not as common as it used to be. Although I think, like, if you play online games, people still use that. Like, oh, I was AFK. Like, they're logged in, but they're not at their computer.
Right.
For, like, an MMO or something.
So fun. I think we should make up a new one.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. Make it happen. YOLO. I want to know who got hashtag YOLO, like, tattooed on them back in the day.
Few people. Probably.
And then, like, do they regret it now, or are they like, yeah, those are the days? I love using that one. I don't know why, but one time I caught myself saying LOL, like, out loud. I was like, LOL, and I was like, oh my goodness, what have I become?
So, have you ever said lol or lol or lol?
No. Strictly LOL.
Oh, okay. No.
And sometimes I still use, like, if I'm texting someone, I'm like, LOL,
yeah.
like, just a bunch of OLs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I tend to, like, use, draw out words, like, when I'm texting, like, the letters,
Yeah.
Like, if I'm, like, trying to be emphatic that I'm tired, it's like, I'm tired, D.
Yes. But, yeah. Very common, I think.
I do that a lot. Yeah.
Oh, IIRC, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I think that still gets used sometimes, but not as much as back in the day.
Yeah. And I was trying to think of some that, like, I had to look up, but I can't think of any. I remember, like, looking up the ones I just, already said, like, the too long don't read or didn't read.
Yeah.
Like, way back in the day. Yeah, but I know there were more that I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So should we bring back ROFL?
I think so.
Yeah. Let's do it from now on. That's what I'm going to use.
I don't know. People might think you're weird and old.
Well, they probably already think that, so.
Oh, okay.
Why not play into it? I'm pretty sure whenever I say YOLO, people think I'm weird and old.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's mostly just to get like a laugh out of people.
But yeah, so in conclusion, weird how language changes sometimes.
It is.
And we should bring back ROFL.
Yeah, definitely.
Or actually, interesting thing about that is, it's rolling on the floor laughing, but the T usually gets omitted.
Yeah. Why the O is there, though?
Because you used to see, I think, more ROTFL, and then people started dropping the T more often.
Yeah.
And then, it
it's
dropped
so much
entirely.
work to type the T.
I think it just looked weirder,
It definitely did.
Rotful.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue like ROFL does.
Yes.
So weird.
Yeah, well, I guess that's everything we have to say about, this topic.
FR.
So, take us out.
All right. That has been Beach View. This time about Nutria rats as pets and internet/texting/slang language. We hope you'll join us next time for some more interesting topics about all kinds of things and stuff.
Yes.
Bye.
TTYL, ROFLMAO.
BRB.